Do you remember this computer from 2 years ago with the missing panel? Well, Chris Bell, PC technician is here, so now it's his chance to take it and repair it.
Hello everybody! Guess what? I'm joined here by Mr. Chris Bell. He's a long-time subscriber of the channel. He's come all the way from York to come and see me, and he's given me a bottle of Jack Daniels. Woo! So the next live stream, guys, I'll be having a drink. Anyway, Chris has come here for a specific reason. He's had a problem with, well, he hasn't had a problem with his car. He's done a bit of preventative maintenance. I'll give you a bit of a backstory. A few years ago, when this was more prevalent, if you remember the electric steering racks on the Mk5 Mondeo, they've got an electric motor bolted onto the steering rack. And what was happening was the aluminium bolts were kind of corroding in some cases, and they were shearing off, and in some cases the motor would actually become detached from the steering rack, which was quite bloody dangerous really. In, I believe, North America and Canada, this was a problem, and Ford over there, they addressed that issue, and they had a recall on a lot of cars, which was the Ford Fusion over there. The Ford Fusion obviously is the American version of the Mondeo over here. But over here in the UK, this problem was not recognised by Ford dealers. They didn't even know what anyone was talking about. If you mentioned steering motors falling off steering racks, they wouldn't know what you're talking about. So, Chris here, you got to hear about this problem.
I did, yes.
And you thought to yourself, well, this is dangerous. You're carrying your wife, kids and all your passengers around in your car. You don't want this to happen to your car. So you went to your Ford dealer and you tried to get this resolved. You actually got some new bolts, the proper modified bolts,
yep.
And you got them fitted to your car.
Yep.
And this was all during COVID when things were difficult to get done anyway.
Yep.
And you tried to get Ford to reimburse you for the cost of the bolts and for the labour, which wasn't a great deal, to be honest. And you had a sort of like a bit of a fight to get it.
Oh yes, certainly did.
So over to you, Chris. All we want to do is hear your little story.
Thank you.
And how it went.
Yeah, well, I first became aware of this from one of the Mondeo groups on Facebook. There's a couple that I subscribe to, and both recommend your channel as well, you see. And let's say it started in America with the Fusion, and Ford America did a complete recall on all 3 2015 Fusions to actually replace the motor bolts. And obviously they issued a technical document, you know, how to do it to the dealers. And both me and my lad had Mondeos, so when I looked at both ours with the old type hex head bolts. So I said to right, okay, so I'm going to get 3 new bolts for all ours, and I'll get my mobile techies, Mobile Mechanic Yorkshire, who came and did the job for me, and we changed them over. So I think the bolts were about £7 each, something like that. I got them on eBay from one of the Ford dealers on there. I usually go to. So I got the receipt, the mechanics did it, and I thought, well, basically, I think I should be asking Ford for money back for this, because I think prices have been quoted for new racks, somewhere in the region of about £3.5 grand or something like that, including fitting and all the work to be done with it. So I sent Ford a nice email explaining, you know, that my car was one of these that was affected because it had the old head bolts in. I sent a copy of the American tech document, and initially I got basically fobbed off, saying as far as we're aware there's no issue with them. So I thought, well, I'm not accepting that. So I wrote to them again and said, well, how can you say there's no issue with them when you've actually had something with Vosa saying that this can happen, but the worst can happen is the belt will drop off from the steering lock, but it's not dangerous. Well, I agree with you. A steering lock at any speed is dangerous.
Yeah, I'll just stop you there. We did have one. I actually said this in one of my previous videos. We had a car here, which we bought off an auction. So I don't know what happened to it, but when it came off the trailer, the actual motor on the steering rack had completely come detached, where all the 3 bolts had snapped. And the steering on that was lock solid, and I mean you couldn't turn the steering whatsoever. It was lock solid, seized up solid. So whatever happened to that car was right dangerous, because you couldn't turn the steering. That's the only case I've had where the steering was unable to turn whatsoever. I've had a few other cases where you could turn the steering, but the motor hadn't come completely detached. So to say that if the motor was to fall off you could still steer the car is a bit of a false statement. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm sorry I'm not happy with your situation. How can you say it's not dangerous when a steering rack will lock up? And again, I got fobbed off by somebody at Ford Executive Office. That remains our stance irrespective of the recall. If it becomes a problem, it'll be recalled in due course. So I still not happy at that, because it came out on the UK forums that a couple of people down south had the issue occur. I give them an example, said, well, these are what people actually took to your dealers now, so there is an issue. You know, what are you going to do about it? And then they're always looking for was, I've done the preventive maintenance by changing the 3 bolts on both our cars. You know, I think about 140 quid or something like that. And I explained to them, I said, if these steering racks go, I'm saving you the best part of £3,500 per car, you know. So anyway, so they wrote back. I said, sorry, we're only paid to reimburse the cost of the bolts because you need special Ford tools to change them with. So I wrote back then and said, well, how can you say special Ford tool? And it's a bog standard, I think 18mm head. So just kept to and throwing. So in the end I got a bit annoyed with this guy, who has apparently quite a reputation at Ford for just fobbing people off. I said, well, can you put this to your supervisor, please? She come back and said, well, yes I will, but she will only say the same. So anyway, so I didn't know anything for a couple of weeks, and it then got put upstairs to his supervisor. She got in contact with me, you know, with a very nice email. Dear Mr. Bell, I'm very pleased to say we will reimburse you the full amount. You know, we're very sort of the inconvenience this will cause you, and we'll arrange payment shortly. So I thought, oh, not a problem. So I sent him a back saying, right, okay, do you want to send me a cheque or do you want bank details? And the crux of it is, Ford UK can't pay customers direct. What I have to do is, she said, oh, we've got to pay your local dealer, then the dealer will issue a cheque to you to cover it. Seems a bit backward, but I don't know if that's the case in the whole industry, I don't know. So anyway, I said, okay, fair enough then. So I gave them the info from my local dealer at Tadcaster near York. And about 3 weeks later, I get a phone call from their managing director. And he said, oh, well, we've got an invoice here to pay to you from Ford Motor Company, but we've never seen your car. You know, what's it all about? So I said, oh, it's for the steering rack bolts that keep sharing. And they didn't know anything about it then. And that was 3 months after my whole email chain started. So I explained to him on the phone what was going on. And he said, well, we don't know anything about it. I said, well, I'll gladly post you the Ford America tech document to have a look at, which I did. And he rang me up later, thanking me for it, saying, yeah, first we're aware of it, but thanks for giving us the information. And then he first sent me a cheque. And basically, that was it. That was the sort of end of the case. But it took sort of, I think, 4 months from start to finish for Ford to actually do something for it.
Yeah,
and it's such a big issue to me that it's such a dangerous fault.
Yeah. When
it goes, you know, and that's why I sort of dug my teeth in and said, no, I'm not accepting this. You know, there's too much at stake here. People's lives are at stake. Then I think apparently now Ford issued a recall for all pre-2015 Mondeos, but yet my lads was a 2016 and it had the old bolts in as well. So if you've got a 2016 Mondeo or after, check the bolts just to make sure that they are the right ones, which we'll try and put a picture on at some point of the old ones, the correct one from the tech document.
Yeah, you've got some information here.
Yep.
Which the pictures information which you'll probably need or you might find interesting, we'll put on this video as well, so you can see the bolts and what bolts replace it and part numbers and stuff like that. So if any of you's got concerns out there about your steering racks and you want to get them checked, then it's probably worth doing, just to be on the safe side. So, well anyway, thanks for your story, Chris.
Pleasure.
Oh, what's this? Hello, Chris.
Hello, Monica.
I know you've been offering to fix this for past 2 years.
I have,
so
yes.
Mary would like you to have it.
Beautiful.
In fact, you can keep it.
So I've got to source a side panel for it and resurrect it ever now.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I can do that.
yeah, there you go.
Thank you very
and
much.
it's nice to meet
Really.
you.
Beautiful.
Very funny. I'll tell you what though, for those of you who don't know what's going on here, there's a woman called Marie who used to work down our other garage, and this PC was always her main PC. It was on her desk. Marie!
What?
Make the tea, be a dear.
Bugger off!
But she took the panel off. I can't even remember now for what reason, but it became a sort of like a joke that her panel was off, and it became like some people sort of like message saying this is a health and safety issue, and I deliberately left it off after that, sort of like to trigger some people. But there you go, it became like a bit of a joke, but it's been taken out of commission now. So Chris has always said he wanted to put the side panel back on and fix it up if there's anything wrong with it, because he's really good with computers. So anyway, it's all yours now, Chris.
Thank you very much.
You can put it on your mantelpiece and put your coffee mug on it.
I'll do that, yes, absolutely.
Anyway, I guess you've said what you want to say.
Yep.
Hopefully some of you out there will be more aware of your steering racks now and electric motors, so if you want to get it checked out, now's the time to do it. Better be safe and sorry, sooner rather than later. And
Absolutely.
we'll say good day, and thanks very much for coming down.
Pleasure, absolute pleasure.
Excellent to meet you.
Likewise.
You met Molly.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Likewise, Molly. Thank you for this.
You're welcome.
Cool.
Something to remember about?
Soon about my visit by, yes. I'll read it the last rites. Dearly beloved, God bless you, you're a good gift to heaven.
Good one.
Excellent. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope this has sort of like been of some use, and we'll see you all in the next one. Adios.